All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. It's Millennial Trades. I want to come on here and kind of just talk about the markets, discuss with you guys what I'm watching, some of the things maybe that I've learned, and the moves that I've been making. I am day trading, but I'm also investing long term in several different sectors. I guess I could talk about that in this video. Maybe eventually I'll do like a portfolio review or expose my portfolio a little bit. But I want to talk about the stocks that I'm interested in, the stocks that I've been buying, the stocks that I'm holding, some of the stocks that I've sold because I have taken profits recently on a few things like Bank of America, and just some of the things that I've been watching. Now, the big thing, the big event that I've got my eyes on is the Fed meeting. All right. And I think it's scheduled. I'm on the Fed website right now for like the 3rd or the 4th the 1st and the 2nd of November. So it's right after Halloween, right? I think we got Halloween maybe on Sunday or Monday. And then we're going to have the Fed meeting. So that is the big event that I'm really looking forward to. It's basically an interest rate hike, right? 75 basis points. I mean, the extreme thing about all this is that the Fed has doubled the interest rates, for months on end now, which is obviously shocking to the markets. And it hasn't really been done before. I mean, even if you look at Volcker, right, it wasn't quite this aggressive. So that's the big event I've got my eyes on, even with this rally. I think it's still possible for a downside. And if there is, I'll probably play it with puts, maybe some overnight trades, some swing trades and stuff like that. But we are seeing this rally right now. Let's just kind of look at Trading Economics. This is one of my favorite websites because it just has everything. It has news, it has all the commodities, the indexes, bonds, got all the prices for everything. It has a schedule. Financial schedule, all these different financial events, economic events that are taking place. But, the main headline here is global bond yields retreat. And that is definitely one thing that I have been watching a lot more often is the bonds. I usually will follow TLT while I'm trading. So I have like different windows open in my account and in my software, and I'll be watching TLT. And TLT today was rising, which means the yields are coming down. I didn't really understand the bonds for a very long time, and I think there's a lot of other people that have struggled with understanding how do the bonds really relate to the markets. The bonds tell us a lot about the housing industry and mortgage rates, but I won't get into that in this video, but that is an important aspect. But the way I I don't know, it hit me a few months ago. Think about it like a dividend stock. You want to buy the dividend stock for the lowest price you possibly can because then the yield is going to be bigger, right? So if you buy, let's say, let's say the dividend is like $2 a year, right? And it comes in 50-cent increments 4 times a year, and you buy the stock at 40. Well, then the stock drops to 20 a few months later. It's better to own the stock at $20 than 40 because that $2 is going to be a much higher yield, right, percentage wise. So that's the way that I sort of look at the bonds now. So we've seen this crazy movement in the bonds, right, where I think at one point all of the yields on all of our American bonds were, all the different durations, the 2-year, 5-year, 10-year, 30-year, they were all over 4%. So it's pretty unprecedented. I mean, that seems to be what everybody can agree on, is that this is an unprecedented move in bond yields. But the global bond yields have retreated. Bond yields in the US and Europe were falling on Tuesday as investors were hoping that the impact of high interest rates on economic growth will force central banks to slow down monetary tightening. So it's kind of like, I guess you could call it the rumor rally. Anyways, who knows what's going to happen, but it very well could be that the Fed does not, pivot, does not reverse course, does not slow down. That is quite possible, depending on how committed they are to bringing inflation down, which is a very, very, very hot topic. Anyways, Yeah, we have Wall Street extending gains. My portfolio was literally up like $300 today, which is great. It's great to see because there's been a lot of red days, but I just continue to buy. I took some calls on PayPal. I was actually holding one put on PayPal overnight that expires this Friday, and it's like, I think it's like worth $5 now. And I bought it for $75 yesterday. So that was a bad move, but I did buy calls. I was in the trade several times because I like to scalp, especially if I'm just trying to get some quick cash in my account. A lot of the times, like let's say I make, a trade and I make $300, I'll put like 100 or even like 150 into long-term stocks so that, if I lose some of my profit, then I still have some assets that I can decide what I want to do with from there. So another big thing is the dollar index, right? I believe the dollar was retreating today. It's been trying to retreat, right? Because we had the dollar move up substantially, which it's good for America, but it makes everything else in the rest of the world much more expensive the higher the dollar goes. So globally, I guess it's better for the dollar to retreat, but also for stocks as well, because, if you're watching the dollar index and everybody's getting out of dollars, well, they're going somewhere. They're either going to bonds or they're going to stocks. So while I'm trading, I'm not only watching NASDAQ, SPY, the volatility index, the VIX, right? I'm also watching TLT. I'm watching the dollar, the DXY. On TD Ameritrade, I literally think it's $ DXY. And, some other... those are the main indicators, right? I'm not using indicators. I'm using price and volume and kind of these macroeconomic forces. And I think that has been a little bit more of a progression, an advancement in my trading strategies, in my investment strategies. So speaking of investments, let's talk about the long term, because I could talk about trading all day. I'm still down probably about $1,500 on the year, but I was down $3,500 just a few months ago. But so as far as trading is concerned, that's kind of where I'm at. But with long-term investing, my overall portfolio is down. Today it was down about 12%, but that's back from about 15% a few days ago. And I think continuing to buy, when these stocks drop, like I've bought Intel now, probably 3 or 4 times at lower and lower prices. Same thing with Verizon and AT&T. My AT&T position is finally in the green, but it has been a long time coming. And I think AT&T still could, the price could still struggle, but I'm enjoying the rally. Verizon as well. Let's talk about the sectors first. So telecommunications to me is very important. I feel like these companies, AT&T, Verizon, there's another one, CCI, that owns a lot of towers that I'm interested in. These companies have been around for like 100 years. Maybe not CCI, but Verizon, AT&T, they're going to be around long after we're gone. So I think telecommunications is vital because none of this can work. Social media, traditional media, none of this can really work without the telecommunications industry. So the fact that it's down, and if you look at a long-term chart of AT&T and Verizon, I mean, these stocks are down huge. So I see huge opportunity. Same thing with Intel. Intel computer chips, it's one of the only ones that actually pays a dividend. Like if you go to AMD or NVIDIA, Skyworks Solutions, these are all like growth tech companies. They don't really pay dividends. So Intel is the one that you can get a yield on, and the yield now is just absolutely amazing. So I'm holding those. I'm down on all of these, but I'm holding them. Another sector in the dividend space is banking, online banking. So Ally Bank, which I think I was down at one point close to 20%. I'm down like 15% on my position. And by position, we're talking about, for some of these stocks, 20 shares, right? Like with Intel, I think I have close to 20 shares now. So not a huge amount of money, but it's a little chunk. And I'm continuing to add to it. It's taken me a while to get up this high. I was holding Bank of America, going back to the banking sector, but I'd been holding it, adding to it and holding it, and I received dividends from it for the past 4 or 5 months. And I was up a couple of days ago, like 15%. And you think about that kind of gain, right? If you put $400 or $500 into a particular stock, and then a few months later you're up 15%. Well, You're not going to get that kind of return anywhere else. So I took the profits, and I had gotten dividends. And I also believe I will have another opportunity to buy Bank of America, especially. We'll see what happens with the Fed meeting. I'm sort of trimming here too, because I've got my eye on the Fed event, the interest rate hike on November 1st and 2nd. I'm pretty sure they're just, that's what's going to happen. I could be wrong. Maybe they reverse course. Maybe the doves come down and save us. But, I'm not going to sit around and hold my breath for that. So trimming some positions. I also trimmed off AG Silver. Now, I like the commodities sector. I like commodities and food, right? Kroger is another one. I think I have close to 10 shares of Kroger now. And again, down on the position. But I was holding AG Silver in my dividend account. I had, I don't know, maybe 30 shares or so. And I've been holding that and building that position for a long time. And I was down on the position. And then a couple of days ago, I've been up on it a few times. I think I was up as high as 15% one time. But I was up about 8%. And I wanted some cash to have on the sidelines, especially coming into the Fed meeting on the 1st. And so I did sell that position. But I had received dividends, right? AG Silver is one of the only commodity stocks that actually gives a dividend. So that was great. So that's pretty much what's going on in my dividend portfolio. Again, I want the yield. I want long-term gains. Do I second guess selling off my Bank of America, for instance? It kind of sucks, but again, I'm trying to be safe. I'm trying to keep some capital. I'm trying to keep some of my gains, right? And if you're up 15%, that just means you're 15% more exposed to losses. So selling that, keeping it in cash, having more cash to trade with, it's part of my strategy. But, I think because of the instant gratification of my, just some of the things that just torment my soul, right? I need that instant gratification. So trading is a big part of it, but having most of the money in assets and long term has helped me, I think, preserve it. But like, for instance, let's go to the growth account, right? In the growth account, I'm actually up nearly 7%. Can you guys see that? Yeah, you can see that. I think so. Nearly 7%, right? In the growth portfolio. A lot of that was because of trading, but another sector I really like is veganism. And how long is this video? 12 minutes, so not too bad. Veganism, right? I'm vegan. I try my best to adhere to a vegan diet as much as I can throughout the year. I slip up, but I believe in veganism. So some of the names I'm holding: Beyond Meat, which I just started that position recently, and I'm already up like 7% on it. Oatly, I'm down 29% on Oatly. I was buying Oatly shares yesterday for like less than $2, $1. And for those of you that don't know, Oatly is a Swedish oat milk company, right? Oat milk. I believe in it. Don't you? We also have Tattooed Chef. All right. I really like Tattooed Chef. I'm holding calls for December as well, the $5 call for Tattooed Chef. But I have about 50 shares of that. And I'm just adding to these positions, because to me, veganism is important. To see these vegan companies grow is important. And I think, especially when commodities come down, companies like Oatly will be able to get their margins together and focus on profits, or at least, increasing revenue and earnings. And we'll see how it goes the next couple of quarters. Maybe there'll be penny stocks 6 months from now still. Who knows? But I do believe long-term in veganism, and not all these companies are going to do well, but like Beyond Meat is well established now. So the fact that you can buy this for like $12, this used to be what, like an $80 stock, maybe a $100 stock. The Fintech, again, going back to online banking, in the growth account, I keep SoFi, and I like Palantir. It's not exactly fintech, but I have some Palantir, and I've acquired 7 shares of Square, and I've been buying Square about $60 and under. I could get exposure to PayPal, but to me, Square, having Jack Dorsey running it, or at least behind a lot of these ideas that they put out. He's from Twitter. He has previous success, I guess you could call it, but he's messed a lot of things up. I mean, just look at the fiasco with Twitter, Elon Musk, and I'm not going to get into that. But, Jack Dorsey is behind the CashApp as far as I know. And in the past, Square has been much more volatile than PayPal. In the past. So if the future is anything like that, even though Square is at these super low valuations compared to where it was, I think we'll definitely see Square and the volatility of Square go more to the upside. So I'm trying to get exposure to that. So I figured I'd buy shares instead of options because the options could go to zero. The shares probably won't. I started a Snapchat position, 4 shares of Snapchat. Fuck it. I mean, where did I get? What did I get this for? Yes, like $7.59. I'm already up 26%. I'm already up 26% on my 4 shares of. You guys can't see this very well because of the green screen, but it's there. It's there. I'm trying to show you guys the proof in the pudding. So that is what I've been doing. Now, I have not been buying lots of silver recently. I don't think I've actually bought silver in 2 months. And I don't like saying that, but, focusing on some other things because I have a fairly good stack. And if silver goes to like $17 or $16, then I would definitely probably pop in the local shop and just buy as many ounces as I could, maybe 10, maybe 20. And I know premiums, especially on constitutional silver, is going up, so I need to get my ass in there, and I need to start buying dimes and quarters and stuff. Because I do believe having bullion, physical bullion, it's a tangible form of wealth. Now, speaking of silver, right? The last thing I wanted to talk about in this video is a little bit of a history, I guess, that I wasn't aware of. But a lot of the silver YouTubers stack silver because, it's sort of a protest against the Fed or what the Fed's doing, or the inflation. It's a way to maybe hedge the inflation, which actually hasn't really turned out to be true. Inflation's at 8%, and silver is at least we'll call it the banking price of silver, what all the banks are pricing it at, hasn't really been a good hedge to inflation. But if you count premiums and stuff, I mean, maybe some people are doing really good. I'm definitely down on my silver position. Even my gold position I'm down on. But having the physical is super important. But at the same time, if we go back in history, okay, there was something called the free silver movement. And it was a major economic policy issue in the United States in the late 19th century. And it was basically, the advocates at the time wanted to give out free silver to everybody so that there could be some kind of cash. They wanted to add to the monetary supply, and this is back in like the 1800s, early 1900s. And this was the whole issue, right? The proponents wanted the free silver and wanted the inflation because it would have been inflationary to increase the monetary supply by giving out free silver. And that was the whole debate, was that a lot of people did not want to see this because they didn't believe in inflation or whatever. But it was the silver proponents back then, the people that wanted to use silver as our money officially, they were also proponents of inflation. They thought inflation was good. And you can read all about this. I just had a quick Wikipedia, sentence to read. But the debate pitted the pro-gold financial establishment of the Northeast. And this is another thing, too. You had the more traditional banking cartels, we'll call them, the modern day Canaanites, and they wanted to stay on a gold standard. They didn't really, they knew by increasing the monetary supply it was going to hurt them. So they were very powerful, and they were involved in the railroads, the factories, especially in the East Coast. So a lot of this free silver stuff was coming from miners and people from the Midwest and the western part of the United States. But very, very interesting fact, that nowadays you go to YouTube or online and you look at these silver channels, and all pretty much all of them are against inflation. Back then it wasn't the case, and I thought that was really interesting when I found that out. I found that out. I started reading about this. I don't know. I was reading something. I was reading some piece of news, and I went down this rabbit hole. And this is why I love going down rabbit holes, because you never know what you're going to find, right? But inflation, I understand that people are trying to make it, trying to reignite the debate, but the debate was settled a very long time ago that inflation is a standard, and now we have global inflation, but the debate has pretty much already been established, at least by the main political parties in the United States. I don't see it really possible after 100 years of history with inflation and controlling inflation and these interest rates and expanding the monetary supply. How do you stop that? You can't. So this whole idea that we're going to end the Fed or end inflation, I think it's futile. That's sort of the conclusion that I've came up to recently. So that's pretty much it, guys. Let me know what you're thinking. I just wanted to hop on here and give you an update. I would like to come back on here more often and talk to you guys and talk to you guys about finances and stuff. But I also want to, if you guys have other topics that you're interested in, feel free to comment down below, because you guys know I have a wide variety of interests, and I'm willing to talk about a lot of things that maybe some people aren't willing to talk about. So with that, I will see you guys on the next video. Millennial Trades, out.